Hi guys, welcome back to the Pregnant Christian Environmentalist podcast. I am now 25 weeks pregnant, and I'm going to have a little bit of a special episode today because I don't have any guests, and we've been leaning towards more topical podcasts. This time, I don't know, it made me miss doing the personal updates. I don't know if you guys missed them, but I have so many updates to tell you all, so I thought that I would just have it be me today and tell you a bit about what I've been learning from so many resources. Podcasts have really been my thing lately, but I watched a documentary. I'm going through, I think, 4 books. I mean, not all at once. I finished a couple of them, and I'm slowly working through the other 2. But I will say they are audiobooks, so basically podcasts, because, I mean, other than reading Mama Natural, that's kind of the week by week, keep you updated, what's baby doing, what's mom's body doing kind of book that I have a physical copy of. But I've been definitely just doing the audiobooks while I cook and while I drive to work and do all sorts of things. So sometimes when I sunbathe too, I've been getting them in and getting information overload. Actually, not really. I would say the one culprit of information overload would be Instagram. I keep saying Riley gets all of the reels. He is more scrolling, but the few days I've been on there, I get immediately overwhelmed. So mostly the info I have to update you guys on that has basically just blew my mind is all from books, which I think is much more reputable because they are, from professionals and not from random people on Instagram. So lots of really cool, valid information. But how am I doing? Well, it's crazy that I am 25 weeks. That is past halfway. I'm getting kind of big. Everybody knows I'm pregnant. There's no questions asked when I'm out in public, when I'm out in the lineup. I have been surfing and a bit more. I'll get into this, I wasn't really surfing because I got acid reflux for a little while there, so I'll talk about that in a minute. But I've been surfing and it's been really, really fun. I don't know if you could relate with this with your hobbies. This is very niche, but I was not really having fun surfing for a while because I realized now I think I have fun when I impress myself out there, when I get a really good wave, and now I'm just terrible at it. My center of balance is gone. I catch a wave, and if I try to take one step on a longboard or try to do kind of a turn on a shortboard, I just fly off the board and the wave over. It's kind of embarrassing. I should not care at all, and also I don't know, I'm just having a hard time having fun, but I'm trying to just realize how freaking lucky I am to be out in the ocean, in the sun, with friends. So we're relearning how to enjoy surfing. It's not all about performance. It's about just being out there and having fun and giggling about how ridiculous I look. But I was thinking before doing this little update, how many topics can I think of for the rest of this podcast? So if I'm 25 weeks pregnant, I should have about 12 more episodes. That sounded a little overwhelming to me because I thought, how am I going to think of 12 topics? So I started writing them down about what I think is very important to deep dive into. We've gone over materials to wear and to dress your baby in, seed oils, and milling your own grain. And then I was thinking about, what else is really important and really affects pregnancy and just health overall. I thought of 16 very important topics. So yeah, I only have 12 left. So apparently that we are not at a lack of content. I'm going to have to combine some of those. I seriously feel like they're all vital for you guys to hear, especially if you're trying to get pregnant or plan to in the future or are. So that's coming. There's going to be 12 more, but I'll just jam pack all the info in there. But back to how I've been feeling. If you asked me a week ago, I would have said I am in the glowing stage. I feel amazing. I feel better than I ever have. I'm just motivated and excited for the future, and the world can't stop me. Now, I've been feeling depressed, low, fatigued, extremely fatigued, exhausted, just lying flat on the couch after every day I get home from something. I was a bit concerned. I thought, was that a crazy hormone switch? What the heck just happened? I was feeling on top of the world for weeks, I want to say 2 months. Then I realized we're going through a heat wave right now. I started hearing a couple people talk about, oh, the temperature lately, or how have you been feeling? And I finally started asking around, and I said, wait, you guys have been sweating your butts off every single day too, and feeling really low and grumpy and terrible and fatigued? And everyone's like, yeah, I've felt terrible all week. No one, just kidding, not no one, but a lot of people don't have AC here, right? So I realized that was the culprit, and I'm sure hormones maybe have escalated how I've been feeling, but I've been really affected by that. So Riley got our 10-year-old AC that was in storage and put it in our window, and I've been feeling much better now. So we're on the up and up now. It's a pretty crappy AC, so we've been thinking, do we install one in a rental house before I give birth, because I am due in the hottest month of the year? We'll find out. I don't know. But also, I have been working a ton, and my question to myself is why. For one, we did have a car get stolen. That was interesting. Yes, we had it parked. We actually took the wheels off, and we're getting new wheels for it. And somebody just stole it off the side of the road. Cannot be found. I had a tile tracker in it, and we saw it somewhere far off on the island, and our insurance, unfortunately, did not give us much for it because it was an island beater. It had some things happen to it, some dents and some scratches that we never fixed. And yeah, they gave us like a fraction of what it was worth. So that kind of stressed me out, just finances overall. At one point, this was weeks ago, I was waiting for a little update episode to tell you all, I actually lost my insurance. We were on the state insurance, and I mean, I guess this is a good thing, but all of a sudden our income was too high for the state insurance, and they just took it away out of nowhere. So as soon as we were making $1 over that threshold, they just called us and said, you are no longer insured. And I said, well, ma'am, I am pregnant, so I believe you are incorrect. That cannot be taken away while I'm pregnant. She said, no, you are incorrect, and she was very rude, and I talked to 4 different people, and they were all just like, nope, that's the rules, sorry, but you're done. So that was a stressful time, and something very interesting happened during that time that I realized I might be spending up to, $70K on this birth, that I started getting extremely excited to do a home birth. I did tell you in the last episode, I met with a few home birth midwives, which was a little bit of a turn of events because I also have done some hospital tours. I was leaning that direction. And as soon as the money of, home birth is going to cost me money, hospital birth is going to be free, as soon as that wasn't an element, I was so excited to do a home birth, fearless, ready, and it's gonna be, $6,000. Yeah, so as much as I was trying to convince myself I'm not swayed by money, I am, and that really revealed that to me. Long story short, I did argue with the insurance enough to get it back, and they said, you're right, you are pregnant, you and your baby will be insured, yada yada. So we are covered, and a hospital birth would be free once again. But that was a pivotal moment for me when I realized money was in the way of me deciding on a home birth. So we're still thinking about it, but I'm thinking money should not be a factor. I should not worry about finances. I can pick up a few jobs to pay for that home birth. On that note of working a lot, I am working at a surf shop, working at a coffee shop, and this is very specific to me. I don't know who the heck else would relate, but during Earth Month every year, that is April, I get so busy with content creation on Instagram since my entire Instagram is about sustainability. And all of a sudden, when April comes around, every brand has a budget to pay a sustainable creator. So I have been taking on a lot of fun, amazing content creating jobs. I never compromise, so these are all amazing companies that I'm working with and promoting and making fun videos for. It should be fun, but I have so many, and their whole campaign is about being posted in Earth Month. So this all has due dates, and scripts need to be written, filmed, re-edited, refilmed. Yeah, this month I've been absolutely grinding, and no rest for me. With motivation of potentially wanting to pay for a home birth, Riley and I have been selling things, but that's also, of course, to make room for baby. I'm trying to sell my mini truck still. There hasn't been a buyer, but that did, during a windstorm, have a tree branch fall on its windshield. And who would have thought there is no spare Japanese windshield in America? They're all in Japan, and they have to be imported. And this is a bit of a timeline history maker, but Trump just put tariffs on importing things. A lot of drama with the windshield that a tree branch fell on, and now it is not safetied. The registration is due, and we just cannot sell this thing, which I, of course, am slightly happy about because I love my baby mini truck. But yeah, lots of financial stress. So just on that note, trying to be relatable here, and just trying to find peace in relying on God that it's all going to work out. And of course it is. We have amazing family. We have amazing community. We're fine. But I do like to mention these things because it gives you a little bit of a insight into when I'm shopping for baby things. I'm not just like credit card, I'll take this, I'll take that. I'm really taking money into account, buying things on Facebook Marketplace for the planet, for the wallet. And that is a topic I'm really excited to get into because making the registry has been so fun and a lot of work. But that's for another episode. Another thing that bummed me out was I found out that the #1 home birth midwife, maybe I shouldn't be saying that in public, but everybody kind of will admit it because she trained all the others on island, basically. She is booked, and that's what I get for taking so long to decide on a home birth. And everybody, not everybody, but most of the moms I know that have done home birth, they had her and they rave about her. But the other moms that had other midwives, who I have met with 2 of them, loved them as well. So it's fine, but that made me really low for a time. I actually was so clueless. I thought she was the only person that did home births on the North Shore. And I thought, okay, then I have to do a hospital birth. And I got really sad, which was another pivotal moment in my decision making because I realized how sad I got. I was so bummed when I thought it wasn't an option anymore for me. And so now that I know it is an option, just goes to show how much I really want a home birth. We had a heart-to-heart in the past about making time for things that count, and I will say that the diet has been on fleek. We've been eating really, really well, cooking things from scratch, and so clearly my motivation is there, and self-discipline. Exercise, it's been about twice a week, for sure. I do my bar classes, signed up for them twice a week, never miss one. But the stretching and the maybe walking I should be doing almost daily has not been happening. So I'll keep you updated on that one. But I will say that this week we got Sierra's low pressure fitness workout videos on YouTube. That was a past episode, so I linked them to that show notes. But you can now go to this episode show notes, and I am linking my YouTube playlist that I'm starting today, and I'm not going to compromise. I'm going to do it every day. Okay, reality, I'm sure I'll miss a lot of days, but this is what we should be doing every day. It's going to be a mix of a short yoga video, a short low pressure fitness video, and then a breathing exercise video. So that's linked in the show notes, and it's a really good daily regimen. Not for like a full workout, a full Pilates kind of deal, but just for a daily practice of stretches and all the things. Just recently, I did realize, okay, Rose, you don't need to work this much. And sometimes I just get hard on myself, and I see other moms that have all these kids and they're doing everything and they're working out and staying super involved and yada yada. I realized though that for whatever reason, this is just me, but a lot of my friends have working husbands full time, and they're almost stay-at-home mom status or very, very part-time with work. So I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but I am working full-time, so of course I can't keep on it as much as they are when they're working out and they're surfing every day and everything I'd love to be doing, but just does not add up with a full-time 40 hours a week work schedule, which is what I'm doing about. It could be overtime, more or less. And so I actually felt so much relief from that, because I think most of us struggle with comparison. It is very easy to fall into, especially if you're on social media and you see everybody's highlights on Instagram stories and you don't see anyone posting them sitting at the office or sitting at a desk and working. So I was feeling this pressure, and that really just released it, and said, I thought, this is Earth Month. I have a lot of jobs right now, and I do like to work more than a lot of people. I love working. I love what I do, especially with my website and social media. Actually, especially with the cute farm stand coffee shop I work at and the surf shop. So I absolutely love working, and I can feel less pressure to be as involved in surfing as much as everyone around me is. It did encourage me also to just work a little less, because Riley's working hard too, and he wants me to be chill, and I've just been a little uptight. An indicator of when I am working too much, I know personally, is when I stop taking Sabbaths. That's when things go wrong. Also, when I can't pray or read without getting distracted. So my mind is getting a bit too obsessed with work. What is my mind distracted with? Work. I think of ideas, my to-do list, all the things, all the projects. And I stop Sabbathing because I think I don't have time to. Sabbathing, I could go on a whole tangent about, but I won't. I just really believe we all should take one day off a week completely to rest, and only say yes to things that give you rest. Say yes to hang out with that friend if that's one of those friends that gives you rest and doesn't take your energy. And say yes to maybe that workout or just stretch or walk if that's something that makes you feel rested. And so I started those up again. It's been amazing, and I'm starting to get back in line, and just release the stress of finances. And on these Sabbaths, I have been taking apple cider vinegar baths. Super random. This is not 100% ACV, but this is a warm bath with 1 cup of ACV diluted in it. And the number of benefits, this started with me having itchy scalp and itchiness on my skin, so I learned about ACV baths. But I started looking up the benefits of this, and the list is so long. Balancing your pH for women. My hair has been silky soft, feel like I'm breaking out less. This helps with eczema. This helps with body odor. Okay, this is my new thing. And me and Riley are going to get an outdoor bathtub for these because our bathtub is a half bath. It's really pathetic seeing me scrunched up in our little bathtub. So that has been my new thing, and I had to share because I'm actually obsessed. I'm doing this just once a week. So 2 other things that I haven't chatted about with you guys. 1, I had another doctor's appointment. 2, we had our gender reveal party, and I'm going to tell you in just a moment what the gender is. The doctor's appointment was just, once again, I mean, I'm just reading too much. I'm, again, very grateful for them, but these appointments, man, they do not need to be so often. I mentioned before that I actually canceled one of them and kind of upset them, but I was like, I think I'll be fine. But I did end up finally going back because I was, in their eyes, long overdue for another checkup. And they wanted to do a gestational diabetes test. That is the icky, sweet liquid that they want to give you that is actually very unhealthy, but it just spikes your sugar. You're supposed to fast all day, then take it and see if your blood sugar spikes enough to test you positive as diabetic, basically. But if you talk to any midwife, they'll tell you you can just do this at home if you have a way to test your blood sugar. And if you have a really cool doctor that will let you take your own stuff, and many will, you can order a more natural liquid from online. There's a testing kit. You'll find it in 2 seconds. Actually, I'll link it for you guys. But apparently you can just eat 2 bananas and it does the exact same thing if you want to save money. I just don't know if your doctor will let that one fly. So if you have someone that has a way to test blood sugar, you can just do that at home and bypass it. I can't tell you if your doctor will let you skip their testing. I mean, I'll find out. We'll see if they give me pushback. And other than that, they just asked if I had any questions, and I didn't. So that was that. I drove an hour to this doctor's appointment for nothing. And I know that if I stick with a hospital birth, I am definitely not going to go to every single checkup. They can't make me, and I know that I'm fine to go to every other one. I would probably go to each one towards the end of the pregnancy, but I have friends doing wild births and free births over here that don't do any checkups, so you can see why I'm a little bit over it. Let me explain myself as I always do because I don't want to offend anybody. I do think, of course, that everybody in that office has amazing intentions and they want what's best for the moms, but I think that they are just a little over worried, over excessive. They get paid for every appointment and every test that they do, and I think that just sways the education and the system. And again, have already gone into that. We'll go into that in the future. So on to the next really fun update. We had our gender reveal party. Guys, make your guess, last chance. Okay, a lot of you might know if you've been following me on social media. It's a girl. We're having a little baby girl. And I can't even remember how much I shared this, but we were so sure it was a boy. Like every old wives' tale, everyone that looked at the position of my stomach, it's a boy, it's a boy. All my symptoms. Okay, I don't have that many symptoms, but that's why they thought it was a boy. I mean, we were absolutely shocked. So much so that when we took a bite into that cupcake, I looked at Riley and I tried to smush it into his face. I didn't even look down right away because I was like, I already know it's a boy. Like, why? I'm not even excited. It was pink. That cupcake was pink. I'm actually in utter shock. And that was the moment that all the moms came up and said, you are so stoked you're starting with a girl. They're such good helpers in the kitchen, and they'll help you with your next little one. They're nurturers. Guys, nobody was telling me that. I wanted a big brother for my one-day little girl, okay? I wanted to start with a boy. But now I can see the pros. No confirmed name yet, but we are having a little girl. And I thought I would share with you guys a little bit about how we planned our gender reveal party. I am definitely no pro. This was not super extra, but as we all know, I am the eco advocate in in the community. So here was just a few fun things I did that were low waste, low budget, but very memorable. For one, I just thought this was really funny and fun. We had a mocktail bar, very on subject with pregnancy. We had a bunch of non-alcoholic beer and non-alcoholic spirits, liquors, and 2 mixer drinks, blueberry, pea flower, magnesium drink. So that was for the blue guesses. The other was like a strawberry pomegranate lemonade kind of deal. So we had a blue drink and a pink drink, and everybody was sipping out of their really cute compostable little mocktail cups. Those are by the brand Repurpose, so they make a more aesthetic, cute compostable cup. I probably would have gone with glasses, little mason jars, because those are easy to find, and there was about 30 people at this party, so just 30 jars, very doable. But I had these left over from an event, so I just used those up, and these cute little mini compostable straws. We did a trivia, so I just used our own printer to print out a bunch of trivia sheets for everybody. I thought that was so fun. Not everybody's into games, but the trivia questions were really funny. A mix of guessing about me and Riley as kids, and then a mix of baby history, a mix of some local Hawaii history with babies and things like that. Just fun questions, and everybody for sure had a blast doing that. And the winner got a prize. I had a couple brands that I work with very closely, so I'm kind of friends with the marketing people. I had them send some stuff for a prize, so the winner and the runner-up got prizes. Then we also had our dear friends, Sally and Tina. Tina's my pregnant buddy, Sally's my bestie. They made the cupcakes, they're sisters, and they were so excited to make the cupcakes and use spirulina, blue food dye, for the blue, and pink beetroot powder for the pink. So we had both the dyes, and then I gave them the envelope. And so those were the 2 options. You don't have to get toxic food dye for a fun gender reveal cake. I wanted everybody, like this was my one diva I want the photo moment, is I wanted everybody in the shot with us, behind us. This is why I wanted cupcakes, not one cake, to bite into their cupcake all at the same time and get everybody's reaction on camera. It didn't work out that way. They just wanted me and Riley and in front of everybody in the shot, and they all wanted to see a reaction. So literally nobody else took a bite of their cupcake until after we did. Whatever, apparently I'm not too much of a diva because I didn't really care that much, and it still turned out really cute. But we were at the beach, we had a tent for shade, and it made it super chill. I asked people to bring snacks. I'm providing drinks, but we brought a bunch of snacks too, so there was loads of food, and it made it just such a fun party. And last thing is I had everybody wear the color of their guess, and we had a chalkboard. So if you came wearing pink, you put a dash on the pink side, blue on the blue side. It made the photos really funny, really cute, and people got super creative. Some people had like full top to bottom pink outfits, and actually there was only maybe 6 people in pink, and then the rest in blue, because I think I had told the entire North Shore of Oahu that I was having a boy. Overall, the party was a blast, completely low waste and very doable. I will say that I am not a party planner. I don't like the waste that goes into it, especially because it's usually single-use stuff, decor. And so afterwards, I thought, okay, that was good. I don't need a baby shower. I seriously said that. I feel like we've been getting so many hand-me-downs, but I've been reading online at the checklists, and we actually need so many more things. So we are going to still do a registry, and we are doing baby shower only because my sweet friends said that they would take it on. Kind of delegating my friends, I guess. Tina and Sally helped with the gender reveal party, and Julie is gonna do the baby showers. So that was really sweet. I really thought, I did do a lot of work with the gender reveal party too, and I don't have time, and time has clearly been on my brain a lot. I don't want to make time to go to doctor's appointments. I don't have time to exercise every day. Definitely need to work on that. It's my weakness. I need to chill out, but I am very, very grateful that I am going to have a baby shower soon, and Julie is taking that on. Thank you, Julie. Speaking of non-alcoholic drinks, I thought I'd list out my favorites for you guys because I'm just such an expert now. Riley and I actually decided to quit alcohol long before we got pregnant, so that is why I feel like an expert, because I do love me a good cocktail, love wine, love beer, I love it all. So since we have quit for the last few years, I have honestly, towards the beginning, was trying out all the mocktails, all the non-alky drinks, but as time goes on, you really stop craving those drinks. I mean, if you quit anything, you stop craving it after not that long, so I'm not really thinking about beer anymore, but towards the beginning, we tried all the non-alcoholic beers. So my absolute favorite, and this is what we had at the gender reveal party, is... maybe I'm biased, I don't think so, but my family works for Deschutes Brewery. My cousins, one of them is the head brewmaster there, and they did a collab with Patagonia Provisions, and they made a non-alcoholic beer. It is for sure by far the world's most sustainable beer in general. Like, if you read about their mission and how they're making this beer, it's incredible. You would not expect less from Patagonia. But it is actually so tasty, not surprised, because more natural, organic ingredients normally are. It is delicious, but other than that, okay, very, very different, but Heineken Zero and the Stellas without alcohol, so good. They taste exactly like the real thing. I also, for wine, that's a tough one. I've tried so many and they all are disgusting. So many of the non-alcoholic wines. If you're someone that likes less sweet, if you're more into a drier drink, I kind of liked Oddbird. That's a pretty popular company, and they were a bit drier. Finally, most of the non-alcoholic wines taste like juice, like watery, just gross juice. But I did try non-alcoholic champagne, and I don't know if it's just the bubbles. So good. Okay, so definitely 10 out of 10 recommend that. I know a lot of you out there are into the sweet cocktails. You're like a frou-frou drink kind of person. I never was. Okay, I always wanted as little sugar as possible, just my palate. So that has been a struggle. Any mocktail to me just tastes like a sugary drink, and it doesn't really hit the spot, but tonic water is key. If you're into that bitterness, I love me a good tonic water with lime and maybe a splash of something. So those are my non-alcoholic hacks for those of you who might be pregnant with me and listening to this podcast. Fun fact on that note as well, you may have heard of the old tradition to drink a beer after giving birth. Apparently hops can promote breast milk production, and I think experts say that that's not true. Studies have shown it might have some truth to it, but others would say you shouldn't have alcohol when you're breastfeeding. But hello, Patagonia non-alcoholic beer that has hops and no alcohol, so pretty sure I'm gonna be drinking those when I'm breastfeeding. With my love-hate relationship of social media, I mostly hate it. But one of the pros, I will say, is posting my journey, experiences, what I'm learning. And now along with this podcast and getting people DMing me and saying, oh my gosh, I heard this. Oh, I totally related to that. So 2 things. One, from the last episode about milling grain. Turns out it is beneficial to sourdough your milled grain. That is because apparently adding sourdough starter to your dough actually decreases the anti-nutrients that make that dough hard to digest, or the bread or whatever you're making. It also increases the mineral content. It increases the vitamin content. So that's pretty cool. It actually is beneficial to sourdough still. Apparently, if you don't want to still sourdough, you can also just soak your grains, and it does all the same kind of things, makes it more digestible in the end. So I was very grateful to hear that extra information because we weren't sure in the last episode about that. Another funny comment I got was from my very own sister, but would we have ever known and talked about this if I hadn't put it in the podcast? I don't know. But she is the only person I found that relates with the ear popping problem, okay? Still have it. It's gone down a little bit. We found that caffeine makes it way worse. But I talked about how my ears have been popping since pregnancy, and it's really annoying, and there's moments where it's really bad to where my whole world is an echo unless I pop it, but it immediately, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but if you're on an airplane or you're going up a hill, to higher elevation and your ears need to pop, it sounds like the world is this echo, right? You can hear your breathing and your insides. That is just me for hours on end. And my sister responded and said, holy crap, she's never found anyone that's related. Everybody has always thought she's crazy. And yes, it's very much caused by caffeine, but it's not only from caffeine. Sometimes it just happens. So super weird pregnancy symptom. And I want all of you guys to message me if you've been relating with this, and we need to find out what the heck is the culprit. Back on acid reflux, yes, this is something I have been struggling with, and I really found out just how to manage it, but I did have one friend say she went through the same thing and also had a hard time finding people relate. But it's that we definitely have indigestion, and that's what's causing it, but it is what made surfing hurt for me, because I would be on my chest and it is making my chest hurt, like my food is halfway up my esophagus. Okay, so that's what causes acid reflux. It's the food is just slowly going down, it'll come back up. And she actually found through her pregnancy is that the reason this is that our esophageal flap, which we have two, I believe, one on top and one on bottom of our esophagi, it is being boosted with relaxin, which is all a part of pregnancy. It's a beautiful thing that our bodies are created to do. But our esophagi flaps were way too relaxed and a little bit loosey-goosey. So if we do go on our stomachs, aka surfing, or during yoga, sometime after eating, even hours after, the food just goes right back up, and that has been irritating. I actually, for a few nights, had to sleep somewhat upright if I had a late dinner. It was just painful, and I had to make sure the food was down and use gravity for that. I couldn't just lay down on my back. But this really is all a part of how beautifully our bodies are created, because another reason this is caused, and I found this through research, is that progesterone is boosted, and it actually does slow down our digestion on purpose. And that does lead to constipation, so you think, what's wrong with us? But actually, those all lead to the food staying in us longer, right? That is for our babies to be able to absorb more of the nutrients. So that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. That's why a lot of people get heartburn. That's why they get constipation. And there's remedies to fix it. Crazy, and this is why I feel like I was struggling with acid reflux and I am not now, is I found out yogurt just cures it completely. All those nights I had to sleep upright in bed, I didn't know this trick. I literally just have to have a spoonful of yogurt and it cures it instantly. It is absolutely wild to me. So if ever you have this, but now I'm assuming that would be similar with all pregnant women, because yogurt is doing the job. That, I guess, indicates that our stomach needs more acidity, because even though yogurt is acidic, apparently it boosts your stomach to produce more acid. I saw lots of mixed reviews about this online, but apparently that shows that my stomach was actually low in acidity and needed more to digest the food. Some of you, I'm assuming people that are not pregnant but might struggle with acid reflux, you might actually be needing the opposite of an acidic food. You might be needing baking soda, which was recommended to me but didn't help because I think I had the opposite problem. So that is when you have too much stomach acidity, and baking soda cancels it out because that is an alkaline product. So you can try both, see what works. And I've actually heard that for years now. If you have indigestion, bloating, acid reflux, heartburn, try both, and you can kind of find out if your acid levels are too high or too low in your stomach. Another trick that has been helping me, and everybody says this, but I will tell you, is to have some apple cider vinegar diluted for sure with water before a meal. And that helps, but not as much as yogurt. I was mind blown. I wanted to share some of my notes from some of the books I've been reading, but because there are so many, and I know many of you possibly during pregnancy would not have time to read so many resources, so I am planning on doing, I'm so excited about this, a mom survey. Because I'm just one person. Google results, we don't know if we can trust them. Doctors have a very different outlook. I want to get opinions on just 2 or 3 things from as many moms as possible. And one of those things is going to be, what is your favorite resource? What helped you most during pregnancy? And in the end, I can see, okay, 75% chose this book, 10% this book, 5% this one. Okay, and we can get like what is clearly the most beneficial for labor and pregnancy. But a few notes from the different books. If you listen to my doula episode with Janice, she recommended a new book, well, new to her, very old, tried and true, and loved book, The Nourishing Traditions of Baby and Child Care. I finally started this. Oh my gosh, it literally has everything you need. I mean, I think it might be my favorite. It is very hippie. Like, if you see the book cover, you're gonna think, wow, Rose has gone off the deep end. This is like for fairies living in fairyland. No. Okay, I don't know what is up with that book cover, but it is amazing. It's got some history. It talks about all the interventions in hospitals. It's mostly about food and nutrition. And as I've been saying, I think that is like so vital on how your birth is going to go. This is everything. It's amazing. And it debunks so many myths. And I mean, right now it's probably my number 1 on the list of what people should read. We'll see. I'm going to sit down. Maybe I'm biased because I'm in the midst of it right now and super excited about this book. But it's incredible. It talks about so many things that I can't really give you my notes on it because I can't skip anything, because instead of me giving you spark notes on one topic that maybe a whole book is written on, it has every single topic, and some of the topics, it is the spark notes of every topic. Like, it summarizes big things into one paragraph, and that's how it can hit so many important things. So can't sum it up for you. But one thing I will say that I haven't really expanded on in the past is vitamins. And this is just from what I've been learning from the past, but also from this book that kind of helps sum it up for me but again, I've heard many other experts touch on this. We need to be so careful what vitamins we're taking while we're pregnant. Vitamins seem very harmless to us. We don't really second guess them. We think, oh, if it's too much of something, we'll pee it out. That's somewhat true for water-soluble vitamins, not fat-soluble, but that's also, even the water-soluble can be harmful. And we've all seen those multivitamins that say, you'll get 500 times your suggested daily need of this. And we think, well, that's kind of weird. Is that necessary? Why is it 500 times of what we need? Most of that does not get absorbed. Yes, you pee most of it out. But when we have a little delicate baby inside of us, that stuff is now going into the placenta as well. And we need to think, are we overdosing our baby on any one vitamin? That can happen. Babies can overdose on vitamin D and vitamin A. There have been cases and studies of it happening and really affecting the baby. So this just, once again, I talk about this so much, but I think the supplement industry is becoming the next big pharma. Not really, but normally the good companies have good intentions. I think that there for sure some bad corporate vitamin companies. This really is just another way to get people to spend money, and it's wasteful. And all those bottles, plastic packaging, all the things, they're just trying to get our money. All the influencers are promoting their favorite vitamins on Instagram, and we trust them because they're like wellness influencers and holistic podcasters. It's already hard enough to make money as a holistic wellness, high standards creator. So of course you're going to take all those supplement jobs. I can relate. Okay, when I had a vitamin company saying that they would pay me and the vitamin was clean and nothing wrong with it, I was like, sweet, finally a brand that I can agree with. You know, most brands I won't work with because they're not sustainable or natural. Okay, so don't trust all the vitamins that your favorite creators are posting about because they're just getting paid, and it's like one of the few ways they can get paid. It's one of the few brands that they will agree with. We need to just be eating our vitamins. Food, package deal, God created, perfectly balanced. As long as it's not processed, as long as it's not separated, that is our main source for food. And I've mentioned before, I believe more in getting a lot of our vitamins from animal products and fruit, and more like root vegetables, and fruit also includes tomatoes and cucumbers and avocados, like lots of produce. But if you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna go straight to salads and quinoa and beans and things, ancestral eating, look it up, that's what I'm on, and this book is actually very aligned with it, getting most of your nutrients from what I just said. So for example, I will just quickly touch on folates, the one vitamin that pregnant women are said, make sure you have your folic acid. Really, we need folate. Folic acid is completely synthetic. Most women, actually, they found the placenta does not even absorb folic acid, so it's not helping from those cheaper prenatals. Yes, a lot of prenatals have caught on, found out that the placenta doesn't absorb it, so they're using a natural form of folate. Usually that's coming from a vegetable. And the thing with vegetable folate is it doesn't have that balance with B12 that animal products have. You can get folate from eggs and liver, and those have that B12 in it as well. And studies showed that vegetarians were very deficient in B12, and that actually harmed the baby because package deal foods are meant to have folate and B12 in them. Also, in the last episode, we talked about how grain, as long as it's not processed, has that folate and B12. So those are the beautiful package deals that our babies need. And those are basic foods, guys. Meats, grains, easy. If you are interested in the whole vegetarian thing, that study did show that without B12, the baby studied showed to become overweight and become insulin resistant, and they were born just really small in the first place. And if this book and all the things I talk about sound overwhelming, and it's like, okay, I have to like balance my vitamins with what, and what's good with what, and what's synthetic, just, you don't have to worry about all that if you're just eating real food. Because again, real food already has that balanced vitamin, nutrient package deal. And so as long as you're just eating real non-processed food that is meant to be eaten, I don't think kale is meant to be eaten, call me crazy, but look at the history. As long as you're just eating real food, then you don't have to worry about nitpicking, and just look at indicators, red flags. Oh, something's wrong, maybe you are deficient, maybe you should get tested. But overall, if you're feeling great and you're eating real food, you do not need to be freaking out about vitamin imbalances. I did finish Natural Birth the Bradley Way, and I started Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, and these were pretty similar to me. A lot of moms recommended them to me. They probably will be very high on that survey, and they're great. I mean, I highly recommend them. I'm just obsessed with this nourishing book, but I just think that I have been doing so much research and going deep into so many rabbit holes of all the things pregnancy and babies that these almost seemed like easy to me, and kind of, oh, I already knew all this. So if you are starting from scratch, I think these books are great. One thing I loved about Natural Birth the Bradley Way was the section on sex, because I learned a lot about intercourse. Okay, not like, I'm talking, she went into details, and we need more of that. Okay, I appreciated that. I learned many things I did not know, and it was super out of left field. I was kind of in shock when she just started going off about that, so that was very appreciated. Maybe get the book at the library just for that part, but the whole book was great, and it talks about how both books our bodies are just made for this. And if you feel like you need birth stories, yeah, Ina May's amazing. I think just for me, I more want to hear all the facts and details and all the birth stories. I thought, well, every single birth story is so wildly different. At this point, I've never seen two similar, so I don't know how beneficial it is for me to read them, but a lot of moms say it really helps them a lot, so it's up to you. That documentary I was mentioning, yes, I watched, and if you're in the crunchy world, you already know what I'm about to say. The Business of Being Born. And I am not going to go into this yet because I'm going to do another all-comprehensive home birth versus hospital birth, who should do which kind of episode, and that would be a great slot for that documentary. I do think everyone should watch it. It is very educational on how hospitals make money and why they might be pushing interventions more than they should be. So great one, but saving that one for later. I did 2 hospital tours in the last month or so. One of Queen's Hospital in town and one of Castle Hospital, which is the plan I've had this whole time because I've heard that this is a more naturally minded hospital and midwives are present. We did that tour first, me and Tina and our men. I was really just shocked at Castle, the quote-unquote birth center that's not a birth center. We've talked about this. They're definitely just calling it that for marketing purposes to appeal to the moms that want a more natural birth. It was just a hospital room. I mean, the benefits were there is a tub, but you're not allowed to give birth in it. It's just a bathtub in the bathroom. And yes, they'll let you sit in it during labor, but they will not allow you to give birth in it. The chair for a partner you might bring along to your birth is kind of convertible into a bed. Unlike most hospitals, your partner has to sleep in a really crappy chair. The hospital room was a little bit bigger, but it looked exactly like a hospital room. I'm talking like bright lights, all the equipment, sterile, the linoleum floors, like all the, this was not a cozy birth center at all. And I will say that it was the first time I have ever felt an ounce of anxiety throughout this pregnancy. Except for the beginning. Some of you are like, hold up, I remember you talking about your anxiety in the beginning. Once I, did that first doctor's appointment, yada yada. Since then, I have been fearless, which is 100% from God. He gets all the credit because I have not been doing the meditation work. I don't know why I'm just so confident. But that is when I got anxiety. And so I think I do relate with my sister who says she does home births because hospitals are not a cozy place for her and she cannot relax enough in there. So I think I would 100% agree with that. That was just not cozy. And then the tour guide, this was supposed to be the natural-minded hospital. She kept making sarcastic jokes about natural moms. I'm not even kidding you. She said, and some of you are going to come in with your birth plan and you're going to think you know better. I mean, she was serious. I felt very targeted. I was like, yes, you're talking about me here. And then some of the other moms would giggle. I'm like, okay, you guys are clearly not offended like I am right now. She said, yes, we're going to give you an IV. Absolutely, you can't. The insert, right? No matter what, we're giving you that insert or else, you don't get the option, which to me is not a big deal. But that just means it's that much easier for them to fill you up with something. And you just have to have your doula or partner on close watch and just be ready to say no. She doesn't want that thing. But yeah, they want that, so it's just very quick. And of course, she said that's because in an emergency will be that much quicker to get you fluids or whatever you need. I totally see why they're doing that. But just the way she went about it, she's just over the natural moms, you can tell. She's like, don't tell us what to do. We know better. It was kind of hilarious. She would mention, the shots, the vitamin K, and she said, and yes, there's those moms that might not want it, but we highly recommend them. She did mention that the C-section rate there was 30%, which is apparently way lower than other hospitals. To me, I'm like, dang, that's still super high. And something else that stuck out to me, which is wild, is that she started talking about how they're trying to get the discharge timing to be less and less hours. So now you can be discharged after 24 hours of your baby coming out. And she said, and we used to be 48, so now we're only 24. And I thought, it is just wild that now there's a birthing tub. They let you squat instead of lie on your back when you give birth. They're slowly moving towards that natural birth because studies are coming out. And to me, it just screams, you guys are behind. We are way ahead of you. We're going straight to the studies. We're actually going straight to how women are designed and how they used to give birth and what is the natural way. And you guys are slowly catching on. And now we'll allow the delayed cord clamping. Now we'll allow skin to skin when they used to not, but they're just slowly incorporating these changes. On that note though, for doing a hospital birth, for those, maybe me, who would say, it's best for them, it is really nice that they are making these switches. And a lot of moms will say, you absolutely can't do a hospital birth because they'll make you lie flat on your back, they'll make you do all these things. But there's been a lot of progress since that mom has been in a hospital, right? She might have a 13-year-old child. That means 13 years ago, she was in a hospital giving birth. So a lot has changed. They're going way more naturally minded, and that's awesome. And so it does make having a full 100% natural birth in a hospital possible. During the Queen's tour, that is, I guess, apparently less natural hospital. They seemed very similar to me. Other than the room being a bit smaller, that chair looking way less comfortable, and I think they will only discharge the family after 48 hours. So that means 2 nights your partner is sleeping in that really uncomfortable chair. But apparently at Queen's Hospital, they have top-notch food. I mean, meals that have gone TikTok viral, according to our tour guide. Super funny, felt like a sales pitch, but I was like, dang, that actually gets me. I want the hospital with better food options for those 2 days that you're stuck in there. Queens did feel a bit more, nice and fancy. It's definitely the more wealthy hospital and definitely the more hospital-y hospital. So it's hard to say with interventions, will they push them more? Will they push C-section more? I think there would maybe be a bit more of a rush in a less naturally minded hospital, but I think it really all depends on your doctor. And so when the tour guide was saying, and you can do squats, you can walk around your room, I asked a question later on and I said, I was told that you can't labor on your hands and knees in the hospital and you can't squat. And so that's debunked. You can, but I asked her, can I actually, can you deliver the baby into the hands of the doctor in those positions as well? And she kind of acted funky with that question. She said, it would depend on your doctor. And so it made me think probably more often they don't see that happening. And I think from what I've heard, doctors would prefer you to get on the bed when baby's coming out, because how the heck are they going to catch it? They're going to have to be on their stomachs to catch this baby, and I think they're required to catch it, right? Versus you catching your baby yourself. So though I think that's not too big of a deal, but I think that there will be more restrictions and the doctor will be pretty authoritative and might say, no, you need to get on the bed and be flat on your back right now. So it all depends on who you have. I really liked some of her tips, they do actually have a mirror, and so I need to look into this. Should I be laboring with a mirror? They said it can help to see the progress you're making, to see the baby's head coming out. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard that before, but they had a mirror at Queen's Hospital. I'm sure that's at Castle as well. They recommended bringing a speaker, got my gears turning. Oh, you really need to pack a bag for the hospital. There's lots of things that will help bring your laboring comb that you should squeeze to help with pain. There's all sorts of packing tips that I will need to research if we do decide to go with a hospital birth. Lastly, with both of those tours, I did think it was interesting how they worded donating the cord blood. You can even donate your placenta. And I mean, once again, I think that these tour guides they were sweet and they had amazing intentions. And probably the doctors all have great intentions too. But they have been told this narrative of, you are a wonderful person if you donate these organs, and because they will go to saving lives. And it's very convincing. We got these nice little pamphlets that talk about it. Every single placenta, every single umbilical cord that they receive, the hospital, they get tens of thousands of dollars for them. So I thought, wow, what a way to persuade people to not do delayed cord clamping, but to cut the cord right away so that it can be donated to someone in need. I mean, I'm torn. That's an amazing cause, but it is wild that the hospital's getting, up to 40 grand for them. And so of course they're going to use whatever persuasion possible to get as many moms as possible to donate the placenta and the cords. Side note, they also get paid a lot of money per circumcision foreskin as well, because of course we're talking stem cells. Wow, clearly, yes, I can talk your ears off for an hour, but I do have some awesome guests coming that are lined up, and I'm really glad that we will most always have guests, but I might do some of these updates every once in a while. Lastly, I have to mention I had two incredible mom friends. It wasn't their first, but they gave birth at home. One, she literally gave birth within 3 hours at home in the shower. Baby came so fast that her midwife couldn't make it to the house on time, and our friend, her husband, caught the baby. Wild. It flew right out. Yes, she had some pain. She said, I'm making it sound easier than it was, but how quick it was, we were all shocked. Good job, Katie. You're an absolute champ, and I'm actually gonna have Katie on the podcast in the future. The other, Bree, holy crap, this was a free birth. There was no midwife present. They intended on that. She's just had really normal births in the past. This was her fourth. And so they said, you know what? We don't need anyone here. Her husband caught the baby in the water, and I watched the video, he flew right out, and it was so beautiful. Everything went so well, and it just gave me so much joy. It's just so empowering to be a woman, and they absolutely killed it. I don't know if I've mentioned her before, but Emily, my other pregnant friend, she is going to have twins, and she is due in a month. They are in the same amniotic sac, which apparently is as rare as getting struck with lightning. And she has been required by her doctor to live for 6 weeks in the hospital up until her due date. And that's when they're going to do a C-section and get those beautiful little girls out. So that is just a reminder that you don't always have the option, and there are complications that happen. And I hate to call something seeming so natural a complication, but if it's that rare, it is labeled as so. And I don't know if she was if she was not on an island, I'll just say it, maybe she would have more options, because there's only a couple hospitals here, and the doctors are clearly wanting to be as careful as possible, and just having her in her hospital room for 6 weeks. They haven't been wanting her to get out and walk off property. They say, no, you can only walk around the hospital. They don't want her to leave the vicinity, strictly telling her not to. So not everyone is meant to do a home birth, and not everyone gets to choose exactly how they get to give birth. That is totally okay, and everything I'm talking about and learning is just for ideal situations, and just embracing the fact that we were made for this, and hospitals and liability can get in the way of us sticking to more natural routes, but they are very necessary sometimes. So that's all I got for this episode. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait to keep talking about more deep dive research topics, and every once in a while we'll do some of these update episodes too. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time.